record. I have to record. I'm gonna record a show. Yes. Hi. Yes, I know. Hi. Hi. Do you need to say hello? Say hello. Hello. I'm the moon dog. Hello. I keep interrupting. Hello. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Woolly Witch of the West video cast. I'm Madeline, the Woolly Witch of the West, and I wanted to thank you all for coming and joining me while I ramble on about fiber arts, things that hopefully all of us love here together. My name is Madeline. I am located in beautiful northwestern Montana, where I live in the woods with my spouse creature, a couple of dogs, and a small pack of cats. I am here at the Woolly Mammoth Yarn Shop in Eureka, Montana, where I am partnering in and learning the ropes of running a yarn shop. And this is a video cast that is primarily about fiber arts, so I focus mainly on spinning and knitting, but I also do natural dyeing and occasional weaving and felting in with all of that. And you can find me pretty much everywhere as Woolly Witch of the West. Instagram, I do have a Facebook group now. On Ravelry, it's WoolyWitchotWest, since the name was just a little bit too long. But I'd love to hear from you all, and I will be working harder this year at updating project pages on my Ravelry page. I don't have a group started yet or anything, but I don't really feel like I have the following for that quite yet. But hopefully this year we'll be able to start some discussions in the comment threads and maybe get that stuff going. So Happy New Year's, everyone. Long time no see, I'm sure. It's been quite a while since I put up a video for all of you, so I apologize for that. But I also know it's been the holidays everywhere, no matter which holiday you celebrate. For us, that was the solstice. But we also have family who does the Christmas thing, so we've had some very extended holidays where we've seen people at different times for different reasons, and I am going to visit my sister here in the coming week, and that will really be like the end of the holidays for me. So it's been a bit of a long run as far as that's all going. But it's mostly been good. Other than that, it is the winter up here, definitely. So we're dealing with kind of the darker tides of the year where there's 2 feet of snow and ice and cold, and it's not really, well, I suppose it depends. If you like cross-country skiing, it's awesome outside. If you don't like icy roads, it's not so awesome outside. I've been spending a lot of my free time plowing and shoveling snow. And plowing and shoveling snow some more. And when you're done with that, it rains, and then it's ice, and you plow on top of that too. So, welcome to the woods in northwestern Montana. Awesome to get to live up here, but it's easy to end up with a case of the winter blues, which I definitely also do kind of seasonally. So I've been dealing with that a little bit as well, I'm not gonna lie. So I haven't really felt up to having a video cast for you all. But new year, new energy, new things, and I thought I would just kind of go ahead and record an episode even though I don't have an awful lot to share with you all, especially as far as finished objects go. And I'm just going to kind of run with it. I'm very off the cuff today. It is Saturday after the shop has closed, so it's dark outside. If you hear any gnawing or chewing in the background, that will be my giant big white moon dog, Ilke, who is here with me and is gnawing on a bone. So I apologize if there's any extra noise, but what can you do? The dog's happy, I'm happy. Otherwise, she'll make an appearance if she gets bored, so watch out for that. So, now that I've rambled on a little bit, let's talk about knitting. I think I'm going to do finished projects first, then work in progress. I do in fact have spinning right now, which is excellent. Last time I recorded there was absolutely positively no spinning. And let's talk about what I'm wearing. This is something I'm going to try and do more of because I'm encouraging myself to actually knit garments from myself, which is not something that I have done a lot of. But today I'm wearing an accessory. This is the bubble hat, which is a free pattern on Ravelry, and that is by Virginia Tulloch of Fat Cat Knits, and it's really good for hand-spun and scrappy yarns. I've made this hat several times. This is the first version I made of it, no, the second version. The first version I did with hand-spun. This is a version I made of it for myself, and there's a lovely story to this. This is a date yarn hat. You can actually see the yarn I made it with is right behind me, which is this lovely, it comes in mini shades, 100% baby alpaca, Pakupura by Marisol, which is an awesome feel-good company that funds schools in South America. Hard to go wrong with that. Complete with woven brin and vintage buttons from my grandma's button stash. So, there you have it. Story behind the hat. I also just realized that the only finished object I have I left right over there. And I'm not editing this, so you'll just have to hold on a second. Hold on a second. Awkward, sorry, here I am. So I only have one finished item with me, which I'm actually giving away, so I am going to try and upload this before I hit the road. So hopefully my sister doesn't watch this since this is the last of our Christmas gifts. So I made her these lovely mitts, which I don't think I talked about these in the last podcast. I think that was mostly socks. But these are great. These are made with Stash Mystery yarn. I think it's a discontinued Rowan line. It's got some mohair in it. And it looks just gray to me right now, but it's just a basic braided cable mitt. And it's not showing up really well, but there's some purple. You can tell a little bit, especially in with the darker stuff right here. There's some purple in there. So just a lovely pair of mitts. Those were a very, very quick knit, which is good. I did a lot of Christmas knitting this year. Oh, that's not actually the pattern I used. That's the pattern I didn't use. I'll track down which pattern I used. It was a free pattern off of Ravelry. This is a worsted weight yarn. I knitted on size 7 double pointed needles. I don't think I used a cable needle for this. I just knit the cables without a cable needle. I really liked, I remember from this pattern, I'll look up the pattern and I'll make sure I put it in the show notes below. But I really liked the gusset increases that this pattern did for the thumb. Because they built a gusset kind of slowly for the thumb, which I've knit several patterns for mitts that didn't really do those increases slowly to build up a gusset, and I just feel like it fits a lot better. So my little sister has bigger hands than I do, so Jeanette, if these don't fit you, you just let me know. But I think they'll fit her. I hope they fit her. I made them for her. So that's my finished object for this show. I have done a lot more knitting recently. I actually feel like this year I kind of kicked butt on the holiday knitting. I knit socks for a few people. I gave away a grown-up size sweater, which I had finished and I hadn't found quite the right person to give to. I gave away a baby sweater, which I had knitted for my nephew, to another little baby boy, my godson, Cassidy Corvus. I have some really cute photos of that I will put in either you already saw it at the beginning or at the end of the show. And I also made some really, really cool toddler hats, that toddlersaurus hats with dinosaur stegosaurus spikes down the top of these little ear flap hats, for a few important kids in my life. And I have some of that finished. I have a toddler hat for my, not a toddler, he's 7. I have a hat for my nephew Owen that's a Kidosaurus hat, but I did not bring it with me. So as far as finished knits, that's kind of what you get. Everything else that I have with me is in progress, and I'm trying to decide how to talk about it all. So I suppose I'll go from worst to last, right? I started making a pair of Christmas socks before the holidays, and I am just reaching for everything. So, I have one done. I'm sure you're all surprised, but looky! Isn't that fun? Look at the toe! So fun, and the pattern on the back is different. I had a little jog. I've learned how to knit jogless joins thanks to this pattern. But, wow, I feel so fancy. Stripes in the gusset. So yes, and this is a free drops pattern. I don't know specifically which one. It's one of their Christmas sock patterns, a lady's Christmas sock. In their pattern they call for gray here at the stripe instead of blue, but I already had the yarn, and I was looking for kind of a quick knit. There's the other one, and that's as far as I am on the other. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a jog there, but it's not quite so bad on this guy. I love the pattern on the back, and everything about these makes me feel very fancy. So I am also knitting these with scrap yarn that I just had in my stash. It's a DK weight yarn that I believe we carry in the shop. It's over there. But it's not a sock yarn. It's just it's a superwash wool. And I'm really happy with those. So why was I slightly nervous talking about this? I'm having this world's worst case of second sock-itis. I have several pairs of socks on the needles that I haven't finished. I have this pair. I have the spider socks I showed you last time. I have the chunky socks I showed you last time. And since I do have a tradition of starting a new pair of socks on New Year's Eve, even though I had all of that going on, I did go ahead and start a new pair of socks on New Year's Eve. So I'm going to grab that. So, New Year's socks. These are actually going to be frogged now that I've knit them and debated them, and I started knitting them just with a regular short row heel, but then I decided it disrupted my color patterning too much, and I liked the colors too much. That's really more what they look like. The darkest color is green, not black. So I was going to do an afterthought heel, which would be a good learning experience that I've never done before. But this is new yarn for me too. This is not yarn we carry at the shop. This is a drops yarn. And it said on the band that it was 100% superwash sock wool, is how it was described. So I just started knitting a pair of socks with it because I was really excited about the colors. These are some of my favorite colors. But as you can see, it's a single. It's kind of a thick single. It's a single, and I was knitting it on size 2 needles, and the yarn is a bit splitty. So So I'm rethinking it. I don't think I can actually knit myself a pair of socks out of this. They will just wear out really quickly. So is the feeling I get. I do have 2 balls of it, 2 50-gram balls, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it instead. Maybe a cowl? Maybe a hat? I'm not sure. But this is yarn I got as part of a fiber swap from someone, so I'm not sure. It's not terribly soft in that super wash wool kind of way. It has good luster to it, so it's shiny. I like it. I like the colors at least. I don't like it as sock yarn. So the New Year's socks are not going to be New Year's socks. I will choose a different pair of socks to do for that. And moving right along, I have other things. Another New Year's tradition I give myself is time to do self-care knitting, or selfish knitting, however you want to phrase it. Knitting more for myself. So I've been doing that. I hid this project from myself during the holidays. I'm dropping yarn balls. Because I got it, because it's so fun. And I'm to the point now where I can't stretch it all out on the needles because it's getting too big and I don't have a needle with a longer cable. But this is a project for me, which is the Meandering Shawl by Stephen West is the pattern. So it's this lovely, lovely, delicious, squishy brioche. And better and better is that these yarns were dyed by a nearly local to me dyer. So the yarns are dyed by the Polka Dot Sheep is the brand name. They run the Knit and Needle Yarn Shop in Whitefish, which is about an hour or so south of us, since it keeps blowing out. I love the colors. So the purple is called Juneberry, and the other, which you can see better on the back, I know, I had a snag that I've stretched it all back out again, but I still have a lot of extra. I'm not quite sure how it happened. But the second color, this contrast, is called Summer Storm, and I'm not sure if that was a temporary summer-only colorway, or if that's one that they have all the time, but this is what they look like in the slightly mangled cakes that have been hanging out in my bag. So Juneberry, kind of tonal purple with bright pink, and Summer Storm. If you look on the sides, it has pops of yellow in with the neon pink. And I think they're a really fun combination. I can't decide which side of my brioche I like better, but it's growing. And this shawl is, we'll see about the sizing on it. I talked about that a little last time. I'm just going to kind of knit until I'm out of yarn with enough to cast off. And we'll see how big it is. And depending on the size, that will kind of help me decide if I'll keep it or not. Ooh, so pretty. If I don't keep it, I do have in mind someone that I could give it to. So at least there's that, right? And oops, I'm knocking things on the floor. So speaking of the winter blues, sometimes I just get really stressed out over trivial things mostly. But it's good that I usually have a project like the one I'm showing you next going on, because sometimes you just want to sit and knit and feel like you're being productive and making something beautiful and not really have it to think about it too much. And for me that can be vanilla socks, but I also started this project in the summertime, and it's been going along rather slowly, but I got some done on it lately, and that is the rainbow shawl for the spouse creature. So this is upside down. The red is actually the top. It's getting gigantic, as you can see. And this yarn was part of a kit of colors. And I've just started on the blue, but the last time I talked to you all, I had pretty much just started on the yellow, so I was way back up here. And it's a crescent-shaped shawl, not that you can tell that right now. So it's going to be gigantic, absolutely huge, because I have yarn through the whole spectrum. So I'm on the blue, so after that I have indigo and violet to go. And it's just a straight garter stitch crescent shawl. And you can see my little stitch markers down here. I also got really awesome stitch markers in my fiber swap package from this wonderful woman named Lynette, who's in Canada. And I don't know why I'm not using those instead of these, because they're beautiful enamel stitch markers with butterflies on them. So maybe I should swap those out. I'll swap them out by the next time I see you. So yes, progress on this big, giant, gay shawl. This is the Pride shawl. I started it in June. And all of these yarns are beautifully dyed. Heck, I keep getting snags in my work. Does anybody else have that problem? So I'm going to have to do some snag repairs. But all of the colors, you can see some of it, especially in the red is where it's easier to see it. But all of the colors are just these beautiful beautifully tonally dyed. And these I picked up at the Montana Fiber Arts Festival over the summer, and let's see, they were dyed by Blue Savannah Yarns, and I will put her Etsy shop below, but she does travel around our area, and this kit was just awesome, and this shawl is going to be massive, and I try to knit at least one shawl for someone to give away over the course of a year, and I had realized that I'd knit shawls for a lot of people, but I hadn't knit one for my spouse. So obviously I should remedy that, and rainbows are perfect. And at the moment, that's pretty much all the knitting I have in progress. Like I said, I do have some spinning stuff to talk about. So the first spinning thing I'll talk about is a lament, which is, don't drop the spindle. Don't drop the spindle. This bobbin of beautiful Polworth and silk that I spun in a beautiful worsted way that was so smooth and lovely is now not so smooth and lovely, as you can see. Children. People. Fellow wool folk, leave your ends fluffy when you finish a yarn. This has been on the bobbin for so long. This is the first bobbin of this that I've spun. This is 4 ounces of Polworth and silk that was dyed by Ravelry Fiber Arts. The colorway is Huckleberry. It's beautiful, it's delicious, it's wonderful. I want to ply it really, really badly. I already plied the other bobbin back on itself, because I cannot find the end. I cannot find the end on this bobbin of deliciousness. I've tried the vacuum. I've tried some tape. I've asked my friends for help, and we cannot find the end on this bobbin of wool. So I'm probably going to cut it. which I hate. I don't like that answer. I want it to all just be one yarn, the fewest amount of ends possible in whatever project I'm going to do with this, which will depend on the yardage. But I spun pretty fine, so. But I'm beyond the point of completely frustrated, and I'm really sad. But between the vacuum didn't work to find the end on this, and I'm just at my wit's end. Every now and then I'll be having a patient moment and I'll go back to it and try and find the end on it, but it's getting fuzzy, and I feel like I'm destroying the yarn, so I'm at the point where I'm going to cut it and wind it into a little ball, and then I'll cut some more of it. When I find the other end, then I'll wind that into a little ball and I will apply them both back on themselves, or maybe I'll be able to rejoin it somehow at that point. I'm not sure. But the point is, I'm sad, and everyone should leave their ends fluffy so that you can find them when you want to ply your wool. That is my lament, the lament of the Raven Ridge Fiber Arts Huckleberry wool. Okay, there's that. But I also have, don't drop the spindle, 2 lovely fluffy bobbins. Ta-da! Which look misbalanced, but it's the same amount of wool on each one. So, look, do you see my fluffy ends? I will be able to ply these. So this is some Romney Targhee blended wool that was lovely fluffy roving. I don't know if the lights, there you go. It's kind of a blended, wonderful gray-brown color, chocolate deliciousness. I'm going to apply these 2 together, and they are a little bit uneven, and I may have some left over. I may have spun one at a slightly different weight than the other, but in general, it's kind of uneven spinning. But that's because I've been working on my long draw and woolen style spinning, which is not my typical go-to style of spinning. My go-to style of spinning is short forward draft worsted style spinning. So I'm really excited about that, and it looks fluffy to me and should be very cozy. So soon there will be new yarn to show to you. And on that note, I also have, in a similar preparation, this giant ball of wonderfulness with pops of red, and it's washing out a lot of the purple. Anyone? That's better. So purple and blue and light blue and kind of tealy blue and a little bit of greeny blue and pops of red. This wonderfulness is truly local to me wool, which is dyed by my friend Siri. She has a wool company, Yarn and Fibers, spinning fiber, and finished hats now. It was called Mother of All Woolworks, which I loved and thought was very punny, but she recently changed the name of her business to Montana Woolworks, which is fine. She's very Montana. In the best possible, like, wild harvesting, hiking, skiing in the backcountry with the dogs kind of way. And so she dyed this, and this, even better, is from her own sheep. So these are sheep. She has a mixed breed flock here in Eureka. This didn't have a tag on it. I kind of swooped in and bought it off her when it was the next thing that she was planning to spin. I didn't know that when I asked to buy it. I feel a little bit like I was sniping. So I don't quite know the content of this, but it has a similar feel. It's equally soft. I think I forgot to mention that this roving I got from Goldieknots MT, which is Tammy. What's your last name, Tammy? But she is also a Montana fiber artist who sources lots of local wool and has it prepared and available for sale from around the state. So this is Montana wool, this is Eureka wool, and I am going to spin this woolen style together, and I will have the same amounts of each, and I think that will be really wonderful. Oh my goodness. Are you barking? Oh, there was a siren. It's very scary. They test the volunteer fire siren every day here at 7 p.m. So now you know what time it is. But in any case, woolen spun, plied and woolen spun together, some color work, maybe mittens. We'll see what my yardage is. Because this is just, I'm very excited. That's very lovely. I have more spinning in progress, which will look probably the same as it did last time you saw it. Hey baby. My dog needs some reassurance. Don't cry. It's just a siren. You're a good girl. So this is my spindle project. This is just a little drop spindle from Shacked. Spindle company. I should weigh it sometime when I don't have wool on it, because I don't actually know how much it weighs. But that's better. That's better still. Oh, my lights are awful when it's dark outside. That's probably the best it's gonna get. This lovely, you aren't really getting all of the jumble of colors. There's some green in there. There's some like bright orange. So I have already spun up one spindle full of this stuff, and I'm making just little, I'm winding just little balls. I might cheat and ply them on my wheel. I might ply them on the spindle. But I got 4 ounces worth of really crazy carded, lovely Rolags of deliciousness from Santa Creek Creations, who is Anna, who is from Idaho, so very regionally close to me. Hello, I know. Hello. Hello. It's okay. Who is, I would consider in the region, I would say that I'm part of like the Pacific Northwest, up into Canada region when I'm sourcing things from myself, since I'm very close to the border, so I try and kind of stay mostly within that realm. But this is my current spindle project, and I am going to visit my sister this week, so I am not bringing a wheel with me, but I will be bringing the spindle project with me, so hopefully in the near future there may be finished spindle spun yarn, which would be really fun. And this has, gosh, merino, silks, something sparkly, all sorts of good stuff in it, and I'm really excited to knit that up. Can you see my dog? No, there she is. Yes, hello. So there is that. And sorry, you're a good girl, but I'm talking about wool right now. It's very important. Talk about wool. Speaking of Santa Creek Creations and Anna, I got the best kind of mail, which is the squishy kind of mail, which is this deliciousness, which I wanted to cake up immediately, but I didn't, so I could save it and show it to all of you, because wow. So she contacted me on Instagram when she was watching older episodes of this video cast. Thank you, Anna, for watching my video cast. Anne or Anna? Oh gosh, I'm gonna feel bad if I got that wrong. And offered to do a trade with me, since I had said how much I love doing exchanges and trades with people. And we agreed to swap handspun after the new year, because things get crazy around Christmas, but the light is just not really great there. You can see some of the green. This has everything in it except yellow, basically. Everything except yellow. There is purple and green and orange and blue and, oh, there's a little bit of yellow, just a tiny bit. Bright green and, oh my goodness. like candy. Super bright. And it's Polworth silk, and there's almost 400 yards, and it's really, really lovely. And I'm gonna knit something for myself with it, because I love knitting other people's handspun. There's just something about knowing the time and care that was put into making that yarn, and especially when you get it made just for you, that is so special. My confession in all of this is that I've been having a bit of a rough time, and I really need to get something on my wheel for Anna, obviously, since this is part of a swap. But I have been quite inspired by receiving this loveliness from her. And I didn't bring it with me. There was also some chocolate, which is long gone, and a really, really, really cute owl progress keeper marker, which I didn't have. I don't have any progress keepers, so next time you see that giant rainbow shawl, maybe I'll have put a progress keeper on it so you can see where I was at. So Anna, oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's BFL in silk. It's so lovely. And of course, she does Santa Cruz Creations, so she dyed this all herself. I wouldn't really expect anything else. So I will be sending her off some colorful hand spun as well here soon, and I will start on that probably as soon as I get back from visiting my sister. I have some ideas on that. Mine won't be quite so bright because I think I'm probably going to send her something naturally dyed. So maybe she'll have something a little bit different than what she makes herself, which is so beautiful to work with. So there's that. Awesome. I'm really, really excited to get to knit with this. That's my dog ringing the bell because she wants to go outside. So I'm going to cake this up and I'm going to bring it with me on my road trip, because I'm not going to be knitting fancy socks while hanging out with toddlers and my 7-year-old nephew. That's just probably not going to be on my list of options. But I'm very excited for the trip. I'm very excited for the holidays to be over. My father passed away right after Christmas, so things are a little bit rough. Not recently, years ago, but I get a little wonky around the holidays no matter how much support or love I know I have. And I know I have lots of support and love, so we're just moving on, working our way back towards the light now, right? But I'll have New Year's new socks. I will finish some things, and I am not going to guarantee a recording schedule for this video cast right now just because I just don't feel like I'm in the position to guarantee that I'll be regular at recording or not, for a number of reasons, whether new jobs, time, whether or not I've made something or made enough progress that I feel like I should share with you all. But I will continue to record when I can, so please, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe to my channel, or find me on Instagram is where I'm the most active. But you could also stop by and like my page on Facebook if that's your thing instead, and I will try and post there as well. And I would love to hear from any of you if you have comments or stories of how you overcame a bout of second sock-itis. I would love to hear them, and I would love to hear from all of you. But since my dog is being so good and ringing the bell to go out, I think that that is gonna be a wrap for me, and I have kept this under an hour, so that's good, because I can really go on and on about all of this stuff. So, once again, thank you all for joining me. I'm Madeline, Woolly Witch of the West, and I hope you have wonderful wool-filled adventures and lives until I get to check in with you all next time. Have a good night.